Welcome back into the GSMC Sports Podcast, as we're now just going to run through a number of the big headlines and NFL news that came out over the course of the weekend. Maybe some smaller scale moves, but some notable ones for sure. We'll start off here. This morning, the Kansas City Chiefs agreed to a one-year contract with wide receiver JuJu Smith-Schuster. This is a bit of a reunion. JuJu was with the Chiefs in 2022, I believe it was, when they won the Super Bowl, and JuJu was a fine player during that year. Now, then following that season, where it was a little bit of a prove-it year for him, again, he was actually, the numbers were better than I thought. 933 yards, 78 receptions, 3 touchdowns, was, somewhat impactful in the playoff run. So 100%, a fine player, but we did just see JuJu sign a contract with the Patriots that ended up being a horrendous deal for New England. Got to the point where JuJu, on what is widely seen as one of the worst wide receiver cores in the NFL, the Patriots decided to just cut him straight up and eat the losses because of the fact that he was sort of he wasn't giving them high level production. He was very bad for them last season, and he was sort of blocking some of the younger names. So to be dropped from one of the worst teams in the NFL is obviously a tough look. That being said, it's two different worlds when you're talking about playing for the Patriots offense versus playing for the Chiefs offense. Now, that being said, even if the Patriots had a functional offense, JuJu did not create a lick of separation throughout pretty much his entire season in New England. So this isn't a move that necessarily is a needle pusher by any means to me, but adding depth for a Super Bowl contending team, and for a team that obviously is so high, firepower, and was also very much missing wide receivers last season, that I can't say it's a bad pickup for the Chiefs getting him on this discounted price. I'm definitely not gonna, again, stand on any sort of a take that JuJu is this great player that was totally just in a bad situation. I think that part of it was on himself, but that being said, he should be much more productive when he is back with the Chiefs. Anthony Manzano in the comment section says, I don't blame JuJu for that whole scenario and his production dipping when the quarterback was horrible in New England, and how do you expect his production to stay the same after leaving Kansas City? I hear you. Not stay the same, but I think that it was a lot of bad for JuJu. I'm a Patriots fan, so trust me, I understand how bad the Patriots situation is. The offense has been borderline unwatchable. I've just been unfortunate enough to, be a Patriots fan in 2023 and watch all of these struggles, but JuJu also didn't do himself any favors either. So you're right. I can't fully blame him, and I'm not. But I just don't think that JuJu at this point is, that excellent of a player. That being said, he can be a wide receiver. He'll probably be a 3 or a 4 on Kansas City. They already have Rashee Rice and Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy. That adding JuJu to the mix, especially with some experience, is not a bad thing whatsoever for Kansas City. But it's just not a deal that moves me all that much and changes my opinion on the Chiefs. I already think the Chiefs are really good, and adding depth there helps 100%, but I don't think it's a game-breaking move by any means. But so I knew as soon as I said it. I'm looking at a comment here from him saying, oh, come on. I'll let him finish out here, but I have a feeling I know where he's going with that. But, while he finishes that, probably skewering me for the fact that I said I'm unfortunate enough to be a Patriots fan. I know I sound spoiled. I'm sorry. These past years have been really rough, though. So, both things can be true. But also on the Chiefs is the fact that they signed center Creed Humphrey to a 4-year, $72 million contract extension. So just wanted to get in that as well. Creed Humphrey, a very good center option for them. Chiefs have had kind of an underrated, I would say, good offensive line over the course of these past few years. Creed Humphrey being a big part of that. All-Pro second team in 2022. Been a Pro Bowler each of the past 2 seasons. So I think this is a great deal for the Chiefs. Obviously, at this point, you have Patrick Mahomes. You're spending money on Patrick Mahomes and options to help just basically help Patrick Mahomes, being wide receivers and offensive linemen. So I think that this is a bit of a no-brainer deal for the Chiefs to get this done. Creed Humphrey been nothing but so solid for them since being drafted in the second round of 2021. For whatever this works, I'm trying to think who the 2021 Offensive Rookie of the Year would have been. But how about, I'll double check into that. It was Jamar Chase by a landslide. So, not really any competition. But how about Creed Humphrey being third in Offensive Rookie of the Year voting in 2021? Again, not a super impressive race there. Mac Jones was second, if you want to put it into context there. But how about Creed Humphrey, offensive lineman, getting some Offensive Rookie of the Year votes? So that was a nice signing, I think, for the Chiefs. But additionally, we also saw a key injury take place over the weekend with DaRon Bland going down with a stress fracture in his foot. Bland led the NFL in interceptions in 2023 en route to becoming an All-Pro first-team player. That's a little bit controversial to some fans in terms of whether or not he should have been All-Pro first-team. Good player, kind of like Trayvon Diggs to some degree from 22, when it's sometimes hit or miss for Bland and Diggs. They both take a lot of risks, but at some point, if you have multiple players doing it, probably on the coaching as well, and it worked for them sometimes. Other times it worked less often. Dan Quinn is gone though, and a lot of key players for this Cowboys defense are gone. Should still be a very good group overall, but DaRon Bland, again, 6 to 8 weeks is a very tough injury, and we talked about the Cowboys earlier in the show as well. I think that they're going to be very reliant on a little bit of an air raid attack on offense. They're going to need to put up points. They're going to be leaning on Dak Prescott. And I think they're going to be leaning on their defense a lot to be able to carry some of the load as well. Because I have doubts with the running back room in Dallas and with the offensive line situation that they bring in a actually very established defensive coordinator in Mike Zimmer, of course, the former head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, that you get some pretty good experience there. And I think Zimmer is going to coach the Cowboys to a good season, but losing one of your top 2 cornerbacks headed into the year is obviously not the right foot that you want to, no pun intended, not the right foot that you want to get off in terms of heading into this upcoming season. So a very tough loss there. Anthony adds as well, Mike Zimmer was defensive coordinator at Colorado. Was he really? Because I don't think I knew that, if that was true. I didn't even know Mike Zimmer was really coaching until he got that Dallas Cowboys job. So that is very interesting. So good note there, Anthony. But again, very unfortunate break there for the Cowboys. Ultimately, Cowboys, this season's not about weeks, at that point it'll probably be 1 through 6, 7, something like that. But it's about the playoffs. So Bland seems like, unless anything goes horribly wrong, he should be available for then, as long as the Cowboys are still in it, which is a growing take as well, that the Cowboys could end up missing the Cowboys could end up missing the playoffs altogether. I think they'll be okay, but we will have to see about that. And then last few notes here that I want to hit on is a couple of tough stories here for the Arizona Cardinals, where wide receiver Zay Jones has been suspended 5 games for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy. He's starting off his new tenure in Arizona, and it is not off to a hot start signing this 1-year deal in the offseason. He was actually arrested during last season in November with a misdemeanor domestic battery charge. The incident took place with the mother of his child. Now, that charge was dropped in March, but the league looked into it and further determined that it was going to be 5 games. And for those curious, I know, I think it was, we had somebody in the comment section earlier talking about the idea of Rashee Rice and can the Chiefs sort of stay out of trouble off the field. I just wanted to sort of highlight the Zay Jones situation because Rashee Rice seems like there is no imminent suspension that's going to be taking place. It sounds like to me that he is probably going to play the entirety of this upcoming season. We'll see if there are any developments there, but that's because legal issues like this take some time to develop. You know, Zay Jones in this situation only had 1 charge to his name. Rashee Rice, I believe, has a couple to it as well. So just a little bit of perspective there on if you were wondering what all of this is with Rashee Rice and why he hasn't been suspended yet. It's because all of the legal processes have to be completed first, and then the NFL does their investigation into it. So, again, a little bit of perspective there. But the other note is that the Cardinals' first-round pick, Darius Robinson, suffered a calf injury during their practice on Thursday and is expected to be out for multiple weeks, which is really tough for them. Robinson is a player that I definitely want to get to know more. I wasn't super familiar with him at Missouri, but he could have a crucial role for this Cardinals team that had the 3rd fewest sacks in the NFL in 2023, and they are trying to sort of add to that pass rush, be able to, generate some more pressure up front. This is a very young defense, especially where Zach Gannon, he is I think one of the brightest defensive minds in the NFL that, he just wants some more pieces to play with. I thought the Cardinals overachieved at times given what they had, but definitely a tough loss for Robinson here. There's a possibility that he could be put on the IR as NFL cut day is tomorrow, where the NFL has to go down to their 53-man roster. And depending on how the Cardinals choose to go about business there, they could either put Robinson on the IR to allow another roster spot for these first few weeks, or they could just mark him as injured and just scratch him, and he would count towards one of those 53. If he goes on the IR, again, would have to be out until at least week 5, so just a little bit of, transactional strategy there ahead for the Arizona Cardinals, and that is the direction I actually want to head on here, because we're 2 weeks away from the NFL season. We have been doing season previews for every division over the course of this summer, and now we're moving into our final week of NFC or of NFL previews, and we have the NFC West, and we're going to be starting off with none other than the Arizona Cardinals. So we are going to be diving into that, but first we're going to be taking a quick break. Do not go anywhere, and we will be right back after this quick break.